Okay, moving on to session 4.2 in the second half of module 4. In the second half here, we're going to be inserting some word art and some images into this newsletter. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to click to select, and actually encourage you to select the paragraph marker here. So I'm going to select all of this heading, and I'm going to choose clear formatting. And that's going to clear everything out. So that's a good thing to know in case you have a formatting like this line here. Instead of going in and removing the shading, changing the font, all of that kind of stuff, you can just choose clear formatting, and it takes everything out for you, which is kind of a handy option. Sometimes clear formatting might do more formatting, clearing more than you want, but in this case it's really helpful. So we're going to clear that out, and then we're going to insert word art. So with this still selected, you're going to go to the Insert tab, go to Word Art, and we're going to choose the second option here. And when I did this in class with the group, and when I did this yesterday on my own, this whole section here was like, came down here. And it's okay, you just need to grab it and move it. The other thing I had trouble with today, and I had a couple students when they were clicking on this, they couldn't get the border to come up. It just was being weird. I don't know why it was doing that. So you just got to kind of click around until you see that border there. Because the first thing we want to do is we want to do the wrap text. So we're going to choose the layout options here. And this time we're going to choose top and bottom. Top and bottom. And then again, fixed position on page. There. That's what you should have. So top and bottom, fixed position on page. We're going to adjust the size here. The width, we want it to be at 7 inches instead of 6. And the height we're going to keep where it is. Okay. Next thing we're going to do is with your word art selected, we're going to go to Text Effects under your Format tab. And we're going to choose Transform at the bottom. And we're going to choose the second row, first option, Chevron Up. And then we're going to go to the Text Fill arrow, and we're going to change this to Blue Accent 1, darker 25%. And then we're going to go back to Text Effects again, and we're going to choose Shadow. And under Shadow, we're going to choose Offset Bottom Right, which is the very first option here. And there's our word art. You can click off of that. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to insert a picture in this happy birthday section here. So it doesn't always truly matter where you click, but I'm just going to click at the end of this paragraph by Lemonade here. And we're going to go to the Insert tab and choose Pictures. And we're going to navigate to our folder, our Word Level 1 folder. And we're going to go to the Word 4 folder, Module folder, and we're going to choose this cupcake picture. It's going to insert it in here for us. And we want to insert some alternate text. So the alternate text is going to be 3 cupcakes, whoops, capital 3 cupcakes with candles. Now you can close that out. And then we want to crop it. There's a couple different ways you can crop it. I can go to the crop arrow here. I can turn it on, and I can adjust this way. Adjust it if I want to crop it. But I don't want to do that, so I'm going to hit undo. Undo. I'm going to go back to crop, and I'm going to choose, oh, the other thing I should show you is you can crop into a shape. So I can go to crop, crop to shape, and I could, let's see, if I choose a heart, for instance, it'll crop that picture into a shape. But again, I don't want to do that either. I want to go to crop and choose aspect ratio 1:1 square. So that means it's going to make it perfectly square. And then you can show, so we could have cropped it to that, we could have done that ourselves with the crop feature, but it's easier to just choose that. And then once we like what we have here with our crop, if you just hit the return key, it'll adjust the image there. Okay. Next thing we want to do is, and this is one thing I just want to mention to you, anytime you have clip art or any kind of image on a page like this, and it does something like this. You know, you put it in your page, you want it to be down further in the page. The quickest, easiest way to get your picture to do what you want it to do is to use the text wrapping. Make it square, make it tight, whatever you want, and then you can move it wherever you want on your page. You can do that with any image. As long as you have that text wrapping turned on, it allows you to grab it and move it. Without that turned on, it doesn't. But what we're going to do here is a little different this time. Instead of the text wrapping, we're actually going to tell it to put it in a specific position. So we're going to go to position, and we're going to choose middle right with square text wrapping. And it'll place it over here on this side of the page. We can still move it if we want, but according to this, it's going to be middle right in that position. We're also going to put a frame around it. So here's picture styles, the very first option. We're going to choose simple frame white. And just like anything else, there's a lot of different frames available that you can choose and pick from. The one thing you always want to just be aware of is that you're not making it, you know, too obnoxious looking, or sometimes you get these reflections that can affect the rest of your document, or cover up other parts of your document. So, you know, I would always just try to keep it simple when it comes to things like that. All right, and the height for this, we want to make it, if I click in the height box, I'm going to type in 1.3. And notice it'll automatically make the width 1.3 because and why that moved that, probably because I moved it before. Let me move it back to middle right. Back to the shape, sorry. 1.3 we changed here, it automatically made it 1.3 width. And that is because of the square 1-to-1 that we chose, the aspect ratio. It'll just always make it proportionate on each side. Okay, we're going to move down to this part of our document now, getting around town. And you could just click anywhere within this paragraph here, and we're going to insert another picture. So I'm going to go to the Insert tab, Pictures, and this time we're going to choose this bookmobile picture, although it kind of reminds me of the Mystery Machine from Scooby-Doo. Until you look at it really close, it's not, but you get my point. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is we're going to move this so that it's, I just noticed this kind of pushed everything down, but that's okay. It should push it back up here in just a minute. We're going to make this horizontal. We want it to be horizontal, not vertical. So we can grab this little guy right here, left click and drag, and move it so that it's horizontal now. Again, you can see how this picture is kind of making these weird spaces. And the next thing we're going to do is we're going to change the text wrapping so that we can get this to fit nicer. So we're going to click here and choose tight with text. And now it's going to make it, we're going to choose fixed position on page. And now it makes everything kind of fit nicer here. All right, was there anything else we needed to do with this picture? I don't believe so. Rotated it. Okay. All right, the next thing we want to do is just show you all the different things you can do with pictures. So with my picture selected, under my Format tab over here, if I click on Corrections, you can see how different corrections will affect your picture. I'm just hovering over them. But if your picture is too light or too dark, you can choose that. Under Color, you can change the color of your image. In this case, it might be weird to do that because our image is multiple colors. However, if you're trying to get it to blend with a theme color or something, sometimes changing the color can make it blend better. You can go to Artistic Effects and add different effects to my image. Lots of different things you can do within Word here. Okay, the other thing to note is if you do make a lot of changes, you can always choose Reset Picture to go back to what it was before. The other really cool feature here in Word that's good to know is the removing your background of a picture. So I'm actually going to zoom in here a little further so it's easier to see. When you click on Remove Background, Word tries to figure out what you want to remove, and in this case it removed too much. So now we're going to mark areas that we want to keep. I turn that on, and then I click in this area back here at the back of the bus to get this to show back up again. This back here as well. It kind of figures stuff out when you start clicking here. And then click on the front of the bus here to kind of bring things back. Looks about everything that we need. So once it looks good to you, you can choose Keep Changes. And there you can see it just removed the background of the bookmobile. So now we have a white background, transparent, versus that green color in the back. All right, the last thing we're going to do is change the height to be 1.5 inches. And then we're just going to kind of bring it down here a little bit to have 2 lines of text kind of above here. Now, the book is telling you to do it a certain way, and of course if you're in MindTap Cengage and it's telling you to do something specific, definitely do that. In this particular case, if this was my newsletter, I would not keep it like this. This text is too close to the image. So I'd come to this image and I would take it off the tight text wrapping and move it to square. So it just gives us a little bit more around our image there. It's not so tight. Usually, tight does often work. I think this is probably somewhat tight. Maybe it's not tight up here either, but it is a nice feature. Tight usually does work. I'm going to try tight on this one. You can see it doesn't even really change, but sometimes, like I said, I do often use tight a lot, and it kind of wraps it around the image versus kind of being more of the square. But in this case, for whatever reason, tight was a little too tight. Okay. Last image we're going to insert here down towards the bottom. You have a little space right here. This is another new feature in Word 2019. If I go to Insert, notice this icon feature, 3D model. This is new. We're going to click on icons. And in class today, I had some people where it looked like this on the left, and I had other people who had them as tabs up top. So if you do have the tabs up top, you'll see accessibility, analytics, animals. You'll just have to hit a little arrow key here on the right to keep scrolling through the different categories, because you're looking for the technology and electronics category. And then you're going to click on the headphones and choose Insert. And right away, I'm just going to turn on my text wrap in front of text, fixed position, and then I can drag this over here. And the last thing we're going to do then is we're going to add a little color to it. So under the graphic styles, we're going to make it this dark accent 5 dark 1 outline. And then we're also going to add a glow, which I think this is such a weird effect, but we'll go to glow and we're going to add an orange glow around it. Again, I don't think I would do that if that was my image, but whatever. That's what it's asking us to do. The heights we're going to change to 1.5, and it should adjust both the height and the width automatically, and then you can drag it just to make sure it looks nice in this spot here. Okay, our newsletter is shaping up. The last thing we want to do, and I'm going to zoom out here so you can kind of see this better. Oh, did I already have you? Did I put that? Did we fix this before? I didn't think we fixed this before. I think. No. Okay, I don't know why this is working for me right now, because in class today, when we completed down here, we actually, if you still are only showing 2 columns here, you want to add in 1 more section break to get this to balance here. I'm just trying to think of what is different. I think I had this come down on this page, and I don't know why. Oh, I know why. Here, look at this. I have an extra paragraph marker in here. Let me move that up. Look at that. How something just that little made a big difference. Okay, so the last thing we need to do then is we need to put another section break in here that's going to cause this to, or help this to be balanced. So I click here at the end of my 3rd column. I'm going to go back up to layout, breaks. I'm going to insert 1 more section break continuous, and it's going to put all of these, balance out these columns. Seems like an odd feature you'd use to make this work, The reason it works is because Word thinks we're going to try and put something below these columns now. So it balances these out to give us more room. It's an easy, quick way to balance your columns. Okay, and there's our final newsletter. Looks beautiful. All right, so the last thing I just want to show you is on your Design tab, you can add some different colors here. They had us choose the green color. You can see if I hover over any of them how it's going to change the colors in here. In the end, we're choosing green. And then we're going to go to the Page Borders button and add a page border. So we've been in borders before. We did borders in Module 1, but this is Page Border Box. You can change the styles, you can change the width, the color, you can choose art to put in there instead. But we're not. We're just going to change the color to be that green accent 1. And then click OK. You can see it puts a thin border around our entire newsletter. I'm not sure if that's necessary. It doesn't necessarily, it's okay. But at least you know how to put a page border around. Okay, the last thing that we're doing here is saving this as a PDF. PDFs are always good to maybe send with the original file. So if I was going to send this Word file to somebody to show them the newsletter, maybe they would print it and use it. Sometimes they're going to open up Word on their end, and they might not have all the same settings as I have. They might not have the same fonts, the same colors, all of that kind of stuff. And when they open this file in Word, it might end up looking quite a bit different than what it looks like for me right now. So it's not a bad idea to save a file as a PDF. If we go to the File tab and then go to Export, we can choose Create PDF. And then, hold on, I think I did that a little too fast. Sorry. File, Export, and then over here we would choose Create PDF. And we can keep it saved as the exact same thing. I can see it's putting it in my module folder, Word 4 module folder. And I want to hit Publish. It'll take a second here, but it will open the file also for me. You might have it open in Adobe Acrobat. It depends on what you have on your computer. On this computer, I don't have the Adobe Acrobat suite installed on my Windows section of this computer, so that's why I just opened it really basically on the internet for me. The last thing that they're having us do then is I just want to show you here quickly how you can open a PDF from within Word. So sometimes you receive a PDF from someone and you want to edit it and you can't edit a PDF. What thing you can always try is to open the file from within Word. So if I just go to File and Open, and then I'm going to browse to my Module 4 folder here, you can see like here's a PDF file that I want to work with, but I don't have this file in a Word format. Now we're actually seeing this here, but if you're not seeing all the files you think you might be able to see, you can always choose All Files. And any PDFs that you have, you can click on and you can try and open them in Word. Sometimes it takes a second. In this particular case, it shouldn't take too terribly long because the file is not that big. But now it's telling me that it's gonna convert it to a Word file. Or am I okay? That might take a while, but it doesn't because there's hardly anything in this file. And this is actually, I mean, this is a nice example because it worked, but I've definitely had PDF files that I've had to open in Word that do not look this nice when I open them. So you don't always have it looking so beautiful, but if you do, you can see that Word does a pretty nice job of opening a PDF and makes it so that you can edit it, which is a nice feature. Okay, so that's the second half of Module 4, going through adding those images and working with PDFs and such. Okay, last thing I just want to mention, if I go into Learning Plan 4, once again, you have the MindTap pieces that you're doing for this week. You're going to do the review problem. And I'll tell you, I tell my students this every week, when you get done with watching what I just showed you, if you do the review problem right now, you're going to see that the review problem is exactly like what we just did in the chapter. So most of my students that I have in class actually just do those review problems immediately because it's so fresh in their mind. And you can see that. I mean, look at this review problem. It looks very similar to what we just did. So sometimes it's easier to do that first than to go through all the SAM stuff first, but it's completely up to you. Just a reminder again that this is not due until October 4th. These first few are not due until October 4th, and then your final project is not due until, I don't remember what I said, is it October 7th or I think it's October 7th. But again, I'll be reminding you of these things as we kind of are coming up on the end of this class. So just keeping in mind that you only have until, Monday, October 12th is when the final project is due. Have to have it turned in by then. And that's when the class ends, is October 12th. And if you are in another class, I know I have 3 sections of Excel next quarter. So I'm sure I have some of you in Excel. That'll start actually on October 14th. So, if you do work ahead and get some of this stuff done, you can always get going on the Excel stuff early if you want to. So if you have any questions about due dates, please let me know.